Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. I hope everyone is doing fine. I'm Zahir, and I'm very excited to be here today and able to talk to you via this video link. I would like to thank the organizers for providing us with this opportunity to share our views on the uh, learning and leadership in Asia in the next century. So since the time is limited, I'll very quickly tell you about my agenda today. I'll first of all tell you why have I selected um, philosophy as my topic of my presentation today. Then I'll talk something about discipline pyramid in order to explain that, and um, then I come to something known as waves of influence. It is something that I noticed in the evolution of philosophical thought over time. Uh, and I'll share my results on spatial temporal analysis that I conducted, where I noticed this thing. And I'll then try to draw out some implications for it, and then near the end of my presentation, I'll talk about what we can basically learn from these philosophers, especially the Eastern philosophers. So let's talk about this discipline pyramid. In 1956, Boulding suggested a way of organizing disciplines according to the complexity of the subject matter. Okay? And you can notice that in this arrangement, if as you go up, the complexity of the structure or understudy that increases, and at the same time, you'll see that the sciences become softer as we go up. So that's why you see logic at the bottom of this pyramid and maths at the bottom of this pyramid, because they consider it to be the hardest of all sciences. And then we move on to physics and chemistry and biology, and they talk about bigger and bigger structures. For example, physics talks about atoms, chemistry about molecules, biology about organic molecules, and the other forms of life, and then we move on to sociology, etc., etc. So in this sequence, philosophy sits at the top of this pyramid. So in this way, you can say it's the softest of all sciences. But at the same time, I'll argue today that this philosophy forms the foundation of all the disciplines. Right? That's another my point of view. That we have to begin with philosophy. That's the starting point. And once we have a particular philosophy, only then we can develop science on the basis of that philosophy, and then technology on the basis of the science that we develop. So for me, philosophy forms the foundation. So uh, let's uh, let's talk about this waves of influence phenomena that I talked about. I noticed this idea when I was conducting a sort of geotemporal analysis of, and I was trying to see how philosophy evolved over time. And I found it similar to the idea of diffusion of innovation. In simpler words, it simply means that ideas do not propagate and progress in a linear fashion. Uh, for for their propagation, we need some sort of contagion. In olden days, the geographical proximity provided this contagion, and the progress depends on the interaction and exchange of ideas, and we see that these the progress displays kind of swings between emerging position. You go from one idea or position to another and then back, but when you come back to that same idea, it's not in the same form. It has evolved in that time. So this idea is also related to the cycles of civilization idea, which holds that centers of power, they like rise and fall and then may move from place to place, um, and it's based on this same idea. So what I did was that I conducted a small study in order to see this in action, and I selected 45 philosophers for that. And this is a list of those philosophers. And as you can see from this list, that they contain both contemporary as well as ancient philosophers. They also contain some names which might not know as philosophers, but if you look at their works, we'll find out the philosophy behind the works. And they are mostly all famous people. I'm sure you must be able to recognize all of them, at least most of them. Um, so what I did was I plotted the geographical location of these philosophers against the chronological timeline. And I noticed a wave of influence flowing through east and west. This wave can be seen here, like in this diagram, this like the green line over here and the red line over here. Um, and you see the move between east and west as we progress up. Incidentally, this also supports the idea of cycles of civilization, because uh, you see that here at the bottom left there's a lot of activity over here, and then this center of activity shifts to the top right over here, and there's a lot of activity over here. So we can see some shift happening over here. So I decided to go a bit further and see whether same phenomena can be observed if we plot not their geographical location uh, but their philosophical position, so as to say, of these philosophers. So I sort of tried to list down their epistemological positions, and I charted that as well. This is shown here. So in this slide, you'll see this is a table of the philosophical timeline versus the epistemological position. These positions range from empiricists to rationalists to spiritualists, with some other positions in between. I've tried to order them in a way where we have more positivist positions on the left and the rationalists in the middle, and more subjectivist positions on the right. For example, in this scale, we have idealists on the right of rationalists, and then we have logicians on the left. Uh, and then we have postmodernism, which is right, a bit right of the rationalists, and modernists over here is to the left. Um, so I tried to do this ordering so it's not arbitrary. So on this left side we have empiricists going on to materialists, modernists, then rationalists, and then we come to the right to constructivists and so. And we see that uh, this very obvious wave happening here, right? Initially, it swings between empiricist and rationalist positions, and then when the Muslims philosophers came up here, we see these swings between the spiritualist and the rationalist position, the empiricist position, and this continues with the Western philosophers over here. And in later centuries, this wave is still there. It becomes a bit more chaotic, but still, it's very obvious that the swings are happening over here. I then tried to plot them together, and this is what the result I obtained. Um, See in this over here, um, you can very easily see that the philosophical strands crisscross each other and they influence each other. And again, we see that there's a shift from the bottom left to the upper right. This is more colorful and more uh, richer in various schools of thoughts and so on. So it sort of gave me an idea that the cycles of civilization and the waves of influence phenomena is active here. It's working here. Um, so what do I learn from all this analysis? So my main argument is that philosophy is the foundation, and ideas evolve in waves, and progress follows these ideas. Like as ideas evolve, and we make more progress. So the the wave is about to hit back east, right? It originated from the east, went to the west, now it's coming back to the east. Because it's just following the wave pattern. And so we need to study the foundations. We need to recall and reinterpret these interpretations so that we can build a better future for us. Um, in order to illustrate what we can learn from these foundations, I have selected three philosophers, including Ghazali, Ghalib, and Ibn Sina. And I'll just try to summarize what I've learned from them in one word or two in order to illustrate how we can appropriate their teachings and their philosophy. For example, Ghazali tells me to be practical, right? He was a very practical empiricist person, and this is what I learned from him. Ghalib, on the other hand, tells me to be passionate, right? Nothing gets done if you're not passionate about it. So you have to have that element as well. And if I look at Ibn Sina tells me to be curious and rational and imaginative as well. So I can very easily use these ingredients for developing newer theories for learning and uh, maybe policies for higher education. When we come to leadership, again, I have selected three leaders, three philosophers, and again, for the sake of brevity, I will just use one or two words in order to explain what I've learned from these masters. Sun Tzu tells me to be prepared, right? He says that you have to win the battle first and then fight it. So that's how important preparation is. Gandhi, on the other hand, tells me that I have to be non-violent. I have to shun all kinds of violence, symbolic violence, physical violence, economic violence. Any kind of violence has to be uh, avoided in order to provide good leadership. Iqbal tells me to be self-reliant. Right? That's also a very important ingredient. So see, these Eastern philosophers form very solid foundations for Eastern philosophies of learning and leadership. So that was my whole contention today. I'll summarize it in this way: that if you look at the past history, you will see some trends, and especially you'll notice a wave um, of progress happening. So it waves like goes not just geographically from one place to another, but it also uh, process through intellectual positions. And we need to ride this wave because this wave is coming back to East now. And the ideas that originated here, they provide a very solid foundation for creating new theories about learning and leadership. So I think we are poised to take advantage of this, and we need to connect our present with the past in order to make a better future. And we must explore and understand our foundations. So that was my message for today. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. In my email is zasif at ipa.edu.pk. Again, very happy to be here. Thank you very much.